This will be part 2 of my June backyard orchard tour. If you missed part 1, I'll put a link to it at the end of this video. I'll start here with this Little Miss Figgy fig tree that I have growing in a 15-gallon container. It started to develop figs in late April. It's a small compact tree that has been growing in this container for nearly 2.5 years. It's a steady producer, and last season I got over 50 figs off this small tree. The figs are dark in both dark in color in both on the inside and the outside as well. Next is my stump fruit section. I have 3 peach trees in this box here. I'll list the varieties on the screen. This next box here, I have 2 nectarine trees and a nectar plum. And on the last box here, I have 2 apricot trees and 1 aprium. This group of trees here didn't produce much fruit this season. It was just about a handful on the apricots. And that was off of the aprium and cotton candy aprium and the Blenheim apricot. The third tree, which was a Katy apricot, didn't produce anything. And here in this group, this nectarine tree you see here, Saze King nectarine tree. It's developing several nectarines on here. We're still fairly early stage of development, but it does have a few on there. This other one, it's getting crowded out here, is a snow queen nectarine, and it also has a few on here. I'm gonna have to do some pruning to protect this one here. It's getting overcrowded with the Saze King nectarine. I'll move around to the front a little so you can see the Spice Z nectar plum. But let me show you the peaches first. This one is a Santa Barbara peach tree. It's one of the last ones that started to set fruit on this group here. It has a few on there. This other one here is a Babcock white peach tree. And it also has a small crop that's developing. This other one here in the front, this is a 4-on-1 peach tree that did really well. I've already harvested the majority of the fruit off of this tree, but it still has a few on there. I didn't do that good a job of thinning this tree out. I should have thinned it out a lot more. The quality of fruit was okay at best. It wasn't great. Next season I'll have to do a better job and thin them out a lot more than what I did this season. I'm also going to have to do some heavy pruning on this tree. There's a couple of grafts on here that are taking over, and I really don't want them putting on that much growth here. Pretty aggressive growth on them, as you can see there. Quite a bit more growth than the other grafts, so this one's going to have to be cut back quite a bit so the other two can catch up. And here is the Spice Z Nectar Plum, which, as you can see, has developed quite a bit of fruit on it, considerably more than the other two nectarine trees. And it's also put on some good growth. And over here in the front is the cotton candy apium, which only managed to produce a very small amount of fruit. There's one there, and there's a few more scattered throughout the tree, but it's not a lot. And on the bottom of each of these three raised boxes, I have some strawberry plants growing. It's not the best place to be planting strawberries. Strawberries like full sun, and they get quite a bit of shade here. But they are doing fairly well, putting on flowers and starting to develop a good amount of strawberries. And they're pretty good sized strawberries too. Next season I'll be transplanting these to a different section of my yard. I also have this other variety here, Sequoia variety, that is also producing some strawberries. This one was planted here last season, and here in this area it gets a little bit more sun than the others. And here is another 4-on-1 peach tree. This was the first one to start producing fruit. I started picking in early May on through about the third week of May. I did thin off a lot of fruit off of this one, but I still managed to get somewhere around 30 to 40, which I should have taken more off. That's way too much fruit for a tree this size. And here are my pink Barbie guava trees. There's two of them in here, and both of them are putting on a good amount of flower buds. As you can see, there's several that have formed on the majority of the branches. And here is my Eureka lemon tree. This one started to develop flower buds in early March. There's a few lemons that are starting to form. Has them scattered pretty much throughout the tree. They're still pretty small, so it's too soon to know if these are going to hang on and reach full maturity. Hopefully the majority of them will. unlike this Cara Cara Orange tree, which put on a lot of buds in March, flowered quite a bit, but it wound up losing all but this one here. I think it's the only one that's left. I don't see any more on the tree. It slowly but surely lost all of them. And here's my Morrow Blood Orange. No flower buds on this one yet, but it has put on quite a bit of new growth. The leaves are looking really healthy. There's a good amount of new growth on it. And same for this Satsuma Mandarin. No flower buds on this one. And this one over here, this Rio Red Grapefruit, also has a lot of new healthy leaves, but no flower buds on this one. And next to it is a Oro Blanco Grapefruit. This one didn't put on as much growth, and there's no flower buds on this one either. And here's my ice cream banana plant. The flower bud on this one started to emerge around mid-December, and it started to develop its first banana hand somewhere around mid-January. So hopefully it won't be too long before this one is ready for harvest. And here I have 3 tomato plants growing in these grow bags. And here I have a dark green zucchini with a couple of small zucchinis that are starting to develop. This one over here, this is a tiger zucchini. It has a few zucchinis that are developing. I've already harvested some off of this one, and I've also harvested off of this one. So this is another tiger zucchini with a small one there that's starting to develop. And here's my Meyer lemon tree that I have growing in this 22-inch pot. It started to bloom in late February, and several lemons have already started to develop and are putting on good size. There's a pretty good amount that are developing, and just recently it started to bloom again. There are some more of you can see here, the flowers that are just starting to bloom. But it has several flower buds that have developed. So it should be a good amount of lemons off of this one this season. And here I have 3 trees growing in these grow bags. I recently moved these out here to this area because I wanted to put them in an area where they would get a little bit more sun. And this one here in particular is Mao Lane. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it, but I put the name on the screen. It's doing pretty good, putting on some new growth. Seems to be liking this area with more sun. This other one here is a jackfruit. Not as much new growth on this one. Just a very small amount. And this last one here is my goji berry. And over here is my Dorset golden apple tree, which put on a good amount of apples. This is another one that I should have done a better job of thinning. Actually, I didn't even thin any off of this tree. It's still putting on a good size on a few of them, but I should have thinned out some of the clusters. As you can see, a lot of the fruit is fairly small. I'll have to do a better job next season on this one as well. And here are my pear trees. This one here on the right is a hood pear. It started to leaf out in early May. And this other one here, this one just recently started to push out its first leaves. And here is a sequoia strawberry plant with the new strawberries developing. And over here are my papayas, which have not produced any fruit so far. And the plant you see here in between these papayas is a gold on gold watermelon. I'm going to train it to grow up along this wire here. I'll also do the same for two other honeydew plants that I have growing here. I'll train them to grow up along this wire, and I'll keep adding more levels of the wire so it grows up all along the fence. And here are my tomato plants. These here on the left are San Marzano. And they have put on quite a bit of growth. They've outgrown this trellis that I had set up for them. And they put on a good amount of tomatoes. And it's still putting on a good amount of flowers as well. Some of them are starting to get fairly good size. You can see these here down the bottom. These were some of the first ones that started to develop. And over on this side, these are Roma tomato plants. Not that many tomatoes are developing on this one so far. The leaf damage you see here, that's the result of a baking soda and vinegar mix that I made in order to help get rid of some white powder and mildew. The mixture was too strong, so I'm going to have to dilute it a bit. Damaged several of the leaves. I'm just going to dilute it for the next spray, and it should be fine. And over here I have two more San Marzano tomato plants. These haven't been in the ground too long, so they're just now barely starting to flower and develop a few tomatoes. And here's my Black Mission fig growing in this 22-inch container, which is, it's not putting on all that many figs, just a small amount are starting to develop on this one. This other fig tree here, this Celeste fig tree, this one is putting on a really good amount of figs. Just about every branch has a fair amount of figs that are starting to develop on this one. It's been a steady producer over the years, and this year it looks like it won't disappoint again. And here's my cherry of the Rio Grande. I started picking fruit off of this one in early May, and I picked the last one sometime around June. I didn't get too many off of it this season. Last season it flowered twice, so I'm hoping it'll start to push out another set of blooms within the next few weeks. And here's my Mexicola avocado, which is put on a good amount of fruit. This tree put on a heavy set of blooms in late January, and it managed to hold on to a pretty good amount of fruit, especially for a tree this size. The fruit off of this tree, this variety, matures much faster than that of my Hass avocado, so these should be ready for harvest in about another 5 to 6 weeks. Before closing out this video, I'd like to show you this area where I recently planted some Sugar Daddy and Sugar Snap peas. I'll be running some wire along this section. I'm going to add another bar like the one you see there over here, and then I'm going to run the wire in between the two bars. And the plan is to have the peas grow up along the wire, and I'll be adding more levels of wire up higher as the peas grow. But the plan is to get them to grow up along here and all up along this fence. It should be tall enough to give the peas plenty of room to grow. I also have some potatoes that I recently planted here in this section. And I also planted some cilantro here. There's a couple of plants there. And here are some broccoli and cauliflower. And over here are a couple of melon seeds that recently sprouted. And these are some carrots. And these are a couple of basil plants. And these are 2 heads of romaine lettuce. And this one is a cabbage. This is a volunteer onion. It's getting ready to seed. And over here I have some pepper plants that I'll be putting in the ground fairly soon. Well, that will be it for now. I hope you enjoyed watching. If so, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing so you can follow along. I still have plenty of work to do in my backyard. I'll be posting videos on a regular basis, so click on the subscribe button and hit the notification icon so that you won't miss any of the newly uploaded videos. As always, stay safe, grow your own, and thank you for watching.